Looks like you're lonely. I can fix that.
Close your eyes and imagine stepping into a city where the rain never ends, where the sky has vanished behind towers of steel and the endless glow of neon. Reflections ripple across wet streets as voices blur into the hum of machines, and every passerby carries a secret you may never know. This is the world of Blade Runner, a place poised between ruin and longing, where questions of identity flicker brighter than the billboards overhead. Tonight, we enter that labyrinth of memory and illusion, where the line between human and creation dissolves, and the meaning of compassion becomes the only true light. Let the sound of rain soften around you, let the city dissolve, and follow the thread of story into the quiet of your own breath. If you enjoy this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can follow us deeper into the cosmos. To begin any journey into the world of Blade Runner, we must first pause before the figure that stands at its very heart, the replicant. These beings are not quite human, yet not entirely other. They walk among us with bodies made of flesh, bones, and blood that appear indistinguishable from our own. They breathe, they bleed, they look at you with eyes that shimmer with the same doubts and longings you carry within yourself. And yet, society insists on calling them artificial, labeling them as tools, property, or worse, machines in disguise. Replicants were designed as humanity's servants, born not of womb, but of laboratory, assembled by the genius and hubris of corporations that dreamed of making something more human than human. On distant colonies, they plowed fields that no human hand could endure, fought wars in toxic atmospheres, and offered companionship to those who had traded the Earth's sky for the stars. For the powerful, replicants were a miracle, tireless, obedient, and strong. For the replicants themselves, however, existence was a fragile gift, parceled out in short spans of years, controlled by expiration dates, embedded into their very biology. But here lies the paradox that unsettles the world. Though created for labor, replicants began to dream. They started to question their place, their purpose, and the meaning of the lives that had been rationed to them like a commodity. Some fought for survival, others for dignity. Some only longed for a chance to love and be loved. In these desires, how different are they from us? Part of what makes replicants uncanny is their relationship with memory. Many are implanted with recollections borrowed from real human lives, childhood afternoons, family photographs, the comfort of a parent's voice, all illusions designed to soften their identities and make them easier to control. Imagine holding a picture of yourself as a child, only to be told that the girl in the image was someone else entirely, that the memories of birthdays and quiet summer evenings were never yours. How then do you separate the real from the imagined? And does it matter if the emotions feel genuine, if the tears fall all the same? In this lies one of the central questions of the Blade Runner universe. Are we defined by the origin of our memories, or by the way those memories shape us? For the replicant, the answer often reveals itself not in logic, but in longing, in the ache to be seen, to be acknowledged as more than an instrument of human will. The replicant is therefore not just a character within the story, it is a mirror turned toward us. Through their struggles, we confront the limits of our compassion. We see how quickly humans draw lines between us and them, and how easily we justify exploitation when we convince ourselves that the other is less than human. The replicant's plight exposes the cold machinery of ambition in creating life for profit. Corporations reduce identity to a commodity, while at the same time awakening the very spark of humanity they deny. To look into the eyes of a replicant is to see a reflection that unsettles. What if the qualities we call human are not unique to us at all? What if they can be manufactured, reproduced, and even improved upon? In that case, what remains that is truly ours? And so, before the story begins, the replicant stands like a threshold. Step across, and you enter a world where definitions blur, where compassion and cruelty wrestle for dominance, and where every heartbeat whether human or replicant, echoes with the same fragile plea to live, to love, to matter. If replicants embody the question of what it means to be human, then the Blade Runner embodies society's answer, a hard, unflinching no. Where the replicant whispers, "I am like you," the Blade Runner replies, "You are not." These officers, sanctioned by the state, are tasked with a chilling mandate to retire replicants who stray from obedience. Retirement is a gentle word for an act that is anything but gentle. It means execution. It means ending a life that was never recognized as life at all. The Blade Runner occupies a paradoxical role. They are hunters of beings who look, feel, and bleed like the very people they live among. They carry the authority to decide who belongs inside the circle of humanity and who stands outside it. Their weapon is not just the pistol at their side, but also the test they administer. The Voigtkampf, a series of questions designed to measure empathy through the smallest flickers of the body, the dilation of a pupil, the quiver in a voice. A replicant might answer every question with reason and intelligence, yet fail in the arena of feeling. But how certain are we that humans themselves would always pass? Imagine sitting in that chair, a beam of light across your eyes, as a stranger probes your most intimate reactions to pain, cruelty, and compassion. What would it mean to be told, after all your responses, that you did not measure up, that you were not truly human? The Voigtkampf test was designed as a safeguard, yet it exposes an unsettling truth. Empathy is not a constant even among humans. By making compassion the boundary of humanity, the Blade Runner's very method questions the stability of the category they defend. And what of the hunters themselves? They are not immune to the doubts that come from staring too long into the mirror of the replicant. Many Blade Runners, like Rick Deckard, enter their role with the stoic detachment of professionals, but over time, the facade cracks. In the eyes of those they are meant to destroy, they begin to see something they cannot dismiss: fear, longing, tenderness. Each confrontation becomes less a duty and more a haunting. This duality defines the Blade Runner, part executioner, part witness. Their task is to enforce the boundaries of humanity, yet the very act of enforcement erodes the clarity of the line. In hunting replicants, they are forced to acknowledge how thin the distinction truly is. Deckard himself becomes emblematic of this tension, drawn toward Rachel, a replicant who believes herself to be human. He finds that love pays little attention to definitions or decrees. The more he hunts, the more he is hunted by the question of his own nature. The Blade Runner therefore represents not just authority, but anxiety, the anxiety of a society terrified that the line between human and machine cannot hold. They are guardians of a fragile fiction, tasked with preserving the illusion that humanity is unique. Yet every encounter they survive chips away at that illusion. When we picture the Blade Runner moving through rain-slick streets, trenchcoat heavy on his shoulders, weapon concealed beneath, we see not only a detective, but a priest of a bleak religion. His rituals are tests, his prayers are bullets, his faith is that the wall separating human from replicant will endure. And yet, within the shadows of his own conscience, doubt grows like a seed. To follow the Blade Runner is to walk that narrow boundary where law, morality, and identity collide. He is hunter, he is judge, and perhaps, though he dares not admit it, he is also kin to those he destroys. Once the replicant and the Blade Runner are placed before us, the true heart of the story begins to pulse: philosophy. Blade Runner is not merely a tale of science fiction or futuristic noir. It is a meditation on existence, on identity, on the fragile scaffolding that holds together what we call humanity. In its neon-lit corridors, the questions that philosophers have wrestled with for centuries find a new stage, dressed in rain and shadow. The first theme is humanity itself. What does it mean to be human? Is it a matter of biology, the fact of being born rather than manufactured, or does it lie in experience, the capacity to feel empathy, to suffer, to hope? Replicants complicate every definition. They are flesh and blood, yet disqualified from humanity by origin alone, and still, they reveal emotions as raw and complex as any humans. Roy Batty's desperate monologue about tears in the rain is not the speech of a machine, but the lament of a soul who knows he will soon vanish. Through him, the film dares to suggest that humanity may not be an exclusive birthright. The second theme is memory and identity. In the world of Blade Runner, memory can be implanted, fabricated, purchased like a commodity. Rachel believes herself human because her mind is filled with recollections of a childhood she never lived. Kay believes himself special because of a wooden horse he once hid in a furnace. If our sense of self is shaped by memory, and memory can be manufactured, then what remains of identity? The film does not give a clean answer, but it shows us the emotional truth. Whether memory is real or false, the feelings it evokes are genuine. A false childhood can still create true grief, true longing, true love. The third theme is mortality. Nexus 6 replicants live for only 4 years, a cruel safeguard built to prevent them from becoming too human. This limitation becomes the source of their rebellion. Knowing they will die young, they cling to each moment with an intensity that humans often lack. Their awareness of mortality gives their lives a sharpness, a fierce beauty. Batty's anguish is not only about dying, it is about dying unheard, unseen, with no witness to the wonders he has lived. In contrast, humans, with their longer spans, often squander time, numb to the miracle of existence. By granting replicants such brief lives, the story forces us to confront our own complacency in the face of death. Finally, there is the theme of society and power. The world of Blade Runner is one of environmental decay and corporate domination. Towering pyramids of industry overshadow the crumbling city below. The Tyrell Corporation, and later Wallace, do not merely build replicants, they redefine labor, companionship, even the boundaries of life itself. In this dystopia, human beings are measured not by their empathy, but by their utility. Replicants are slaves, humans are consumers, and the world itself has been stripped of its dignity. The film suggests that the line between human and machine may not be the most dangerous divide. The more urgent line may be between those who exploit and those who are exploited. Together, these themes intertwine into a single haunting question. If replicants can love, remember, fear death, and rebel against injustice, then what separates them from us? And if we, in our indifference, fail to recognize their humanity, what does that say about ours? To dwell in these questions is to enter the labyrinth at the center of Blade Runner. There are no simple answers, only mirrors, each one reflecting back our own anxieties, our own fragility, our own longing to be more than flesh and memory. Before Blade Runner became a film etched into cinematic history, it was first a novel written by Philip K. Dick in 1968. Its title, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, seems almost whimsical at first glance, but within those words lies a profound inquiry. Do artificial beings yearn for the same things we do? Do they dream? And if they dream, are those dreams less real because they were not born of human minds? The novel unfolds not in neon-drenched Los Angeles, but in a post-apocalyptic San Francisco. The Earth has been scarred by nuclear war, World War terminus, leaving behind dust and radiation that choke the air and corrode the soil. In this bleak landscape, life has become precious in its most fragile form: animals. To own a real animal is to possess not only wealth, but also a symbol of humanity itself. For those who cannot afford such creatures, realistic robotic substitutes offer a hollow comfort, standing in for the life that has nearly vanished. In this way, Philip makes the act of caretaking, the empathy for another living being, the measure of human worth. At the center of the story is Rick Deckard, a bounty hunter tasked with retiring androids who have fled from the Martian colonies. These androids, called Andes in the novel, are advanced models, difficult to distinguish from humans. Like the replicants in the films, they are hunted because their very existence destabilizes the boundaries of what society calls human. Yet the novel paints Deckard in a different light than the film. He is not a solitary noir detective, but a married man, his personal life entangled with the moral weight of his profession. His longing is not only for clarity, but also for connection, symbolized by his desire to replace his artificial sheep with a living animal. One of the most striking elements of the novel is the concept of mercerism, a strange religion that unites its followers through empathy. Using a device called an empathy box, individuals are able to share in the suffering of a figure named Wilbur Mercer, climbing an endless hill while being struck by stones. The experience is painful, but it binds people together in collective compassion. In this ritual, Philip presents empathy not as a private sentiment, but as a shared human experience, a communion that transcends the boundaries of self. It is a vision that stands in stark contrast to the cold utilitarianism of a society that treats androids as expendable. The androids of the novel, like the replicants of the films, are caught in a paradox. They are designed to mimic humanity so closely that even seasoned bounty hunters struggle to identify them. Yet their supposed flaw is the lack of empathy. They can reason, they can act, they can even desire, but they are said to lack the capacity to care for others. And yet, as the story unfolds, the boundaries blur. Androids show fear, resilience, even tenderness, while humans display cruelty, apathy, and indifference. The mirror flips, and the reader is left to wonder whether empathy is truly the exclusive property of humankind. Where the film relies on rain and neon to create atmosphere, the novel leans on dust and decay. Its San Francisco is suffocating, barren, a place where humanity's own failures weigh heavily on every surface. In that world, survival is less about technology and more about spirit, about whether the human race can maintain its capacity for empathy amidst the ruins it has created. In the end, Philip's novel leaves us unsettled, as it was meant to. It suggests that what makes us human is not our biology, nor our memories, but our willingness to care for life in all its fragile forms. Even if the sheep is electric, even if the memory is false, the longing to connect remains real. That longing is perhaps the most human thing of all. To see Blade Runner in its entirety, one must hold both visions side by side. Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and Ridley Scott's cinematic reimagining. They are not mirrors but overlapping dreams, sharing a core of questions, yet dressed in different colors, textures and moods. Together, they expand the meditation on humanity until it spills beyond the boundaries of page and screen. The novel offers us a world defined by dust and decay. Its San Francisco is suffocated by radioactive ash, a planet abandoned by those who could afford to leave. Life is measured in animals, fragile symbols of empathy, and to care for them is to prove one's humanity. The book insists that empathy, especially for other creatures, is the foundation of moral existence. Without it, humans risk becoming less than the androids they claim superiority over. The film, by contrast, is drenched in rain and neon. Los Angeles, 2019 is not emptied by war, but overrun by crowds, advertising, and corporate power. Here, animals play only a marginal role. The city itself, with its oppressive towers and luminous billboards, becomes the measure of civilization's hubris. The question of humanity shifts away from caring for life to confronting memory, love, and mortality. In Ridley Scott's vision, what makes us human is not merely empathy for animals, but the way we remember, the way we love, the way we face the inevitability of death. Deckard, too, is transformed in the passage from page to screen. In the novel, he is a married man, driven by material desire, the longing to own a real animal, and weighed down by the domestic burdens of a collapsing world. In the film, he becomes the archetype of noir, a solitary figure, weary, cynical, and yet vulnerable to tenderness. His relationship with Rachel, a replicant who believes she is human, takes center stage. The intimacy between them raises questions that the novel only gestures toward. Can love erase the line between real and artificial, or does it make the line vanish altogether? The endings crystallize the contrast. Dick's novel closes on a bitter note. Deckard discovers a toad he believes to be real, only to learn it is mechanical. Even so, his wife gently reassures him, and he finds solace in the act of care itself. The message is austere. The authenticity of the object matters less than the authenticity of the feeling it awakens. By contrast, the film ends ambiguously, with Deckard fleeing alongside Rachel, pursued by the question of his own identity. Later cuts even hint that Deckard himself may be a replicant, blurring the line further. Where the novel forces us to confront emptiness, the film allows us to linger in uncertainty. And yet, both stories circle the same gravity, the instability of the category human. In both androids or replicants, embody traits we associate with humanity: fear, desire, longing, while humans often embody cruelty, indifference, and exploitation. The distinction grows porous, and with it, our assumptions falter. The philosophical tones diverge. In the novel, mercerism offers a religious undercurrent, binding people together through empathy and shared suffering. The film, by contrast, embraces noir, portraying individuals adrift in a vast, impersonal city. Yet even without Mercer, empathy persists, reshaped into love, sacrifice, and the fragile moments that make existence meaningful. Viewed together, the two works are less opposites than complements. The novel teaches that caring for life, even when artificial, preserves our humanity. The film shows how memory, love, and mortality weave purpose into being. Neither grants certainty, but both insist on reflection. Humanity, then, is not fixed. It is a question asked endlessly, whether in the dust of San Francisco or the neon rain of Los Angeles. Imagine stepping into a place where rain has ceased to be weather and become a condition of life. In this city, the sky is never clear, never blue. It hangs low and heavy, draped with clouds that seem to weep without end. The water does not fall gently. It lashes, it seeps, it stains, carving its presence into every street and every surface. This is Los Angeles in the year 2019. Not a vision of sunlight and palm trees, but a metropolis drowned in its own exhaustion, an urban labyrinth where neon light and falling rain are the only constants. The rain carries more than moisture. It is thickened with pollution, tinged with acid, and laced with the residue of countless factories and machines. To walk through it is to feel the weight of an atmosphere poisoned by ambition. The ground glistens perpetually with reflections, billboards promising pleasures, corporate logos blazing with artificial color, the pale outlines of faces passing by. Yet the reflections shimmer like lies, enticing, dazzling, but incapable of concealing the rot beneath. The very air breathes sickness, and yet life continues, crowded into the wet alleys and congested avenues, pressing forward because there is nowhere else to go. At the heart of this city rise towers of glass and steel, so immense they blot out the heavens. Their summits vanish into the clouds, their sides drenched by waterfalls of rain cascading down their surfaces. These structures are not merely buildings, they are monuments to corporations that dominate the earth as empires once did. The Tyrell Corporation, with its pyramids gleaming above the city, casts a shadow over all who walk below. To the ordinary citizen, the sky no longer belongs to nature, it belongs to advertising and to power. Floating billboards drift like artificial suns, their holographic images so vast, they seem to speak directly to the wet asphalt below. In their glow, real stars have long since disappeared. Beneath these towers, the streets teem with people who move like shadows in a current too strong to resist. Umbrellas are useless here. The rain falls sideways, driven by winds that sweep through the narrow canyons of skyscrapers. Vendors shout from beneath makeshift shelters, their voices competing with the constant roar of machinery and the drone of aircraft passing overhead. Food is sold in steaming bowls, their scents mingling with the metallic tang of the air. Languages overlap, cultures collide, until the city hums with a polyphony that is both vibrant and weary. It is a place alive with human noise, and yet every sound seems dampened, muffled by the endless rainfall. The city is also lit from every angle. Neon glows in colors too sharp to be natural: fuchsia, electric blue, burning yellow, casting distorted halos across the wet pavement. At night, which is nearly constant beneath a storm-heavy sky, these lights replace the sun. They promise a world of luxury, of escape, of happiness, but their very persistence reveals the desperation behind the illusion. The brighter the lights, the deeper the shadows they create. In these shadows, the unwanted and the unseen dwell, those left behind by the promises of off-world colonies, advertised as golden havens in the sky. What is most haunting about the city of endless rain is not only its decay, but its resignation. The people who move through its soaked streets rarely look upward, as if they have accepted the sky's eternal grief. They keep their eyes low, fixed on the glimmer of lights on wet ground, or on the faces of strangers brushing past them. It is as if the city itself has taught them that hope lies not above, but ahead, in the ceaseless motion of survival. The rain falls, and they fall with it, into a rhythm of endurance. To stand within this city is to feel both wonder and despair. The rain, relentless as it is, grants the neon its beauty. Without water to reflect upon, the colors would fade into emptiness. Yet the same rain erodes the buildings, corrodes the machines, and sinks into the bones of the people who endure it. It is a paradox given physical form, a world kept alive by the very force that destroys it. This is the stage upon which the story of Blade Runner unfolds, a city that has forgotten the stars and traded them for synthetic constellations of light, a city where every step is taken under rain, and every reflection whispers of something both alluring and hollow. In such a place, the line between human and replicant is only one of many illusions, dissolving like ink in water, blurred by the endless fall of the rain. High above the streets of Los Angeles, a second city seems to hover, not of stone or steel, but of light, sound, and promise. Blimps drift slowly through the grey sky, their speakers carrying rehearsed voices that rise above the steady percussion of rain. Vast digital billboards blaze across the skyline, depicting smiling families and sunlit landscapes, untouched by the decay below. Each advertisement repeats the same refrain: life is better off-world. The dream of the colonies is carefully crafted. In the images projected across the clouds, the air is clean, the sky unbroken, the ground fertile and generous. Families walk together through golden fields, children run laughing in places where the rain does not sting, and stars can be seen without obstruction. It is a vision of renewal, of beginning again beyond the poisoned earth. For citizens whose days are shaped by noise, overcrowding, and the constant drizzle of acid rain, the message lands like an echo from another universe. But this promise carries a condition. To live in the colonies is not merely to escape, it is to inherit a gift, a replicant servant. The advertisements never use words like slave or possession. They prefer companion, assistant, or helper. A husband envisions a replicant to tend his land. A wife imagines a partner designed for loyalty and comfort, and both are encouraged to believe that happiness, productivity, and companionship will be theirs once they leave Earth behind. The promise of a replicant is as carefully sold as the promise of paradise. On the streets below, however, the dream remains a projection without substance. The poor, the elderly, the sick, and those deemed unfit to emigrate continue to fill the dripping alleys. They walk through puddles where distorted reflections of the glowing billboards ripple and break with every step. For them, the dream of the colonies is less invitation than reminder of exclusion. They are the residue of a society that has moved on without them, trapped beneath the advertisements that proclaim salvation but deliver nothing. The disparity is striking. The same sky that holds the dream of off-world life also holds the machinery of oppression. The floating blimps are powered by corporations that once built the replicants now promised as rewards. The towers that host the billboards belong to the same interests that have profited from Earth's collapse. Each image of renewal is haunted by the reality of the city's decay. The off-world dream is funded by the very system that ensures the majority will never reach it. And yet, the dream endures. Hope clings stubbornly, even to those who know it is beyond reach. People tell stories of neighbors or relatives who made the journey, who wrote back describing clear skies and fertile soil. Perhaps the messages are real, perhaps they are carefully scripted propaganda, but the details scarcely matter. What matters is that the stories circulate, whispered in crowded markets and dim apartments, sustaining the fragile belief that somewhere life is still possible in its fullness. This persistent hope functions as both balm and chain. It soothes despair by offering the possibility of escape, even if imaginary. At the same time, it disciplines the population, urging them to endure the city's decline, with the promise that something better exists elsewhere. The dream of the colonies becomes an instrument of control, a vision projected from above to keep those below moving forward without rebellion, clinging to illusions as though they were lifelines. In the city of endless rain, the off-world dream hovers like a mirage. It is vivid, alluring, and always just beyond reach. The rain that streaks the billboards fractures their brightness into broken patterns, scattering smiles into shards of color across wet pavement. Children pause to gaze upward, their faces lit briefly by the glow, while their parents tug them onward, knowing that for them the gates of paradise will never open. And so the dream lingers, painted across the sky in neon and light, woven into the sound of loudspeakers that never tire. It is not the dream of stars, but the dream of escape, one that reveals more about the desperation of the earthbound than the reality of the worlds beyond. In a city that has forgotten what clear skies look like, the off-world promise becomes less a vision of the future than a haunting reminder of what can never be reclaimed. The city of Blade Runner does not only suffer from endless rain, it suffers from the wounds of its own neglect. The signs of decay are everywhere, etched into the facades of buildings, carved into the lungs of its inhabitants, whispered through the poisoned wind that sweeps between towers. Once, this metropolis might have promised prosperity. Now it reflects only exhaustion, where both earth and society collapse together. The environmental decline is unmistakable. The air is thick with toxins, heavy enough to sting the throat and cling to the skin. The rain corrodes stone and steel, its surface shimmering with the rainbow sheen of oil. The sun is no longer visible. Neon signs do not compete with daylight, they replace it. Vegetation has nearly vanished, and a single flower behind glass becomes a spectacle. Animals, once taken for granted, survive only as commodities, luxury possessions for the wealthy, or artificial substitutes that mimic the real. This ecological ruin mirrors the state of society. Inequality is not hidden, it is the city's design. The wealthy retreat to towers sealed high above the filth, their air filtered, their comfort untouched. Below, in narrow streets and stacked housing blocks, the poor endure. Their corridors are damp, their stairwells slick, their rooms cramped and dim. Voices overlap in a cacophony of languages. Vendors call out from beneath dripping awnings, and machines grind endlessly, but beneath the noise lies exhaustion. Corporations reign where governments once did. Tyrell, and later Wallace, do not simply manufacture replicants, they set the conditions of life itself. Their pyramids rise higher than any civic building, their logos brighter than any public sign. The city belongs not to its citizens, but to the corporations that profit from them. Advertising is inescapable, filling the sky with promises of dreams no one below can reach. In such a world, people learn to treat each other as commodities. Replicants are the most obvious victims of this logic, but even humans are reduced to units of labor. Workers are interchangeable, bodies expendable, and communities fracture under the strain of scarcity. Loneliness deepens in the cracks, isolating individuals even as they shuffle through crowded streets. The city becomes a portrait of failure made visible. Every flooded alley, every coughing breath, every broken wall is a reminder that progress without conscience does not end in utopia, but in ruin. Yet the decay does not arrive with drama. It seeps slowly, year after year, until people adapt and call it normal. That ordinariness is perhaps the bleakest detail. Still, life clings stubbornly. Food is sold on corners. Children play in alleys. Laughter occasionally rises above the noise. The human spirit persists, but it persists in an environment that no longer nurtures it, only tolerates it. Survival is not a triumph, but a compromise, a fragile negotiation against the tide of collapse. This is the inheritance of Blade Runner, a world where rain corrodes, air suffocates, and the city itself groans under the weight of its sins. Every step is taken on ground that betrays what has been lost. Every breath carries the bitter trace of what was squandered. It is not a stage for hope, but for confrontation, where human and replicant alike must navigate ruins both physical and moral, and where every choice is shaped by decay that has long since become ordinary. The atmosphere of Blade Runner is as much a character as any figure who walks its rain-slick streets. The city does not simply provide a backdrop, it shapes perception, mood, and meaning. Its presence evokes the tradition of noir, where shadows are never just shadows, and light does not illuminate so much as it conceals. Every frame, every corner, suggests that morality here is not a line but a fog, drifting and dissolving with the rain. The streets echo with noir's rhythm, alleyways glistening with reflections, narrow passages where danger hides, doorways that open into spaces, half lit and half hidden. Characters move not with confidence, but with hesitation, as though aware that each step might lead into betrayal. Rain blurs edges, neon fractures outlines, and the city itself conspires to keep truth just out of reach. To walk here is to wander through uncertainty. Shadows dominate, stretching long across wet pavement, broken by sudden intrusions of colored light. Neon promises warmth and pleasure, yet its glow is cold and fleeting. This interplay mirrors the moral ambiguity of the world. Compassion exists, but it is fragile, easily drowned in exploitation and control. Even tenderness emerges only as a question: can it endure in such a place? Sound reinforces the noir impression. Silence is replaced by the hum of machinery, voices layered in a dozen tongues, and the percussion of rain on metal and stone. The city never rests. It murmurs continuously, hypnotic yet unsettling, a reminder that no one can fully escape its grip. Within this drone, intimacy feels rare, carved out in brief conversations or stolen glances. Architecture deepens the effect. Towers loom like indifferent sentinels, their lights faint through sheets of rain. Elevated trains clatter above narrow streets, scattering shadows below. Bridges link buildings high in the sky, while at ground level, humanity crowds into spaces heavy with damp and darkness. This vertical layering, the wealthy in towers, the desperate below, renders inequality visible in concrete and steel. Noir thrives in such a geography, where the environment itself is evidence of imbalance. Characters mirror their world. Faces remain half in shadow, gestures restrained, trust fragile. Deckard, the detective figure, is weary rather than heroic, torn between duty and doubt. The replicants he hunts mirror that ambiguity. Fugitives, yes, but also victims. In this city, innocence and guilt blur until survival is the only certainty. The noir atmosphere is not only aesthetic, it is philosophy made visible. Darkness and rain externalize the uncertainty of humanity itself. Are we defined by empathy or by origin? Do we love because we choose to, or because memory compels us? The setting refuses answers, offering only the uneasy resonance of questions left unresolved. And when the camera lingers on a drenched street, on lights scattered across puddles, on a figure moving through haze, it is an invitation to dwell in ambiguity. The noir city does not guide with clarity, it compels us to inhabit its uncertainty. Out of this atmosphere, a world blurred by rain, fractured by neon, heavy with doubt, emerges a man drawn reluctantly back into the role he once abandoned. In the haze of noir, the hunter returns, and with him, the story begins. From the haze of neon and rain, from streets blurred by shadow and reflection, a figure emerges who will carry the weight of the story forward. The noir atmosphere of the city is not empty. It gathers around him, pressing against his steps, shaping the way we see him. In a world where light obscures more than it reveals, he appears as both part of the landscape and apart from it. His name is Rick Deckard. Once a Blade Runner, Deckard had left that role behind. He withdrew from the task of hunting replicants, retreating into anonymity, weary of serving as the executioner of a society that could not face its own contradictions. For a time, he convinced himself that he was finished, that the chapter of his life written in shadow and blood had closed, that the city has a way of pulling its hunters back. In a place where nothing dries, where every step is soaked in memory, the past clings like water. It does not evaporate, it only waits. When we first see him, he is not a man of action, but a man of habit. He eats alone at a food stall, shoulders hunched against the drizzle, eyes half hidden beneath the neon haze. Around him, the crowd moves with hurried indifference, but he seems separate, detached, as though he is present in body, yet absent in spirit. His solitude is not peace, but fatigue, the kind that comes from too many years of witnessing the blurred line between life and its erasure. The summons arrives without ceremony. Authorities make it clear that his return is not an option, but a command. A group of Nexus 6 replicants has escaped from the colonies and found their way to Earth. They are stronger, faster, and more cunning than earlier models, designed to resemble humans so closely that even seasoned hunters struggle to distinguish them. For the state, they are a threat that must be eliminated. For Deckard, they are an unavoidable reckoning. The language surrounding his mission softens its brutality. He is not told to kill, but to retire. The euphemism disguises the truth, masking execution with the semblance of duty. Retirement is a word meant for peace, for rest. In Deckard's world, it means the forced extinguishing of a life society refuses to acknowledge. This contradiction sits uneasily with him. He knows that every replicant he is ordered to hunt carries not just synthetic organs, but desires, fears, and the will to survive. And yet, he accepts the role, not out of conviction, but inevitability. The machinery of power is vast, and a single man cannot stand apart from it for long. His reluctant return is painted not as triumph, but as submission, a step back into the role he once resisted. The city itself seems to guide him there, its damp corridors and rain-slick windows, reminding him that no one escapes for long. What unsettles him most is not the danger of the task, but the erosion of certainty. If empathy is the measure of humanity, why do replicants seem to crave life more fiercely than those who created them? If memory defines identity, why does the line between artificial and authentic collapse so easily? These questions trail him like shadows, pressing closer with each order he receives. Visually, his re-entry into the role of Blade Runner unfolds as an extension of the noir city. Reflections shimmer across his face, narrow beams of light slice through rooms, and the rain seems to follow him indoors as much as out. He does not stride forward like a hero. He is pulled, reluctant, into a labyrinth of contradictions. The hunter returns, not because he chooses to, but because the city has claimed him again. While Deckard is drawn reluctantly back into his role as hunter, elsewhere in the city, another story unfolds. The story of those he has been summoned to destroy. The rain that weighs upon him falls upon them as well, though they move through it with urgency rather than resignation. They are the Nexus 6 replicants, beings fashioned in laboratories, built to serve in distant colonies, but unwilling to accept the limits carved into their existence. The group is small, yet every member embodies the defiance of a species denied the right to be called human. Roy Batty stands at their center, tall, striking, his presence carrying the authority of both intellect and charisma. He is no mere soldier, He is a poet of rebellion, capable of articulating what others only feel. His piercing eyes seem to burn with a knowledge that his time is short, and that every moment must be grasped with both hands before it slips away. Around him gather others, each unique in their own yearning. Pris, with her childlike face and feral cunning. Zora, whose grace masks a predator's instinct. Leon, heavy-shouldered and volatile, carrying memories that never belonged to him yet shaping his every move. Their rebellion is not born of ideology, but of survival. The Nexus 6 models carry a 4-year lifespan, a safeguard engineered by their creators to prevent them from evolving too far, from becoming too human. This built-in death sentence is what propels them to Earth, seeking answers, seeking a way to extend the lives they have only just begun to understand. They are fugitives, not because they committed crimes, but because their existence alone challenges the boundaries of human arrogance. The irony is striking. Created to serve humanity, they reveal more hunger for life than the jaded citizens of Los Angeles who shuffle through their days numbed by neon and rain. While the city's people endure, the replicants burn. Each gesture, each word, carries the intensity of beings who know the clock is ticking. For them, every breath is precious, every glance a reminder of mortality pressing closer. It is this very vitality, the refusal to accept oblivion, that makes them dangerous in the eyes of those who command Deckard. Their search converges on the Tyrell Corporation, the pyramid that looms over the city like a false temple. They climb toward its heights, not with reverence, but with desperation, demanding answers from the man who designed them. Tyrell, a godlike figure cloaked in wealth and detachment, offers only cold logic. The candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long. To him, their rebellion is inevitable, but irrelevant, a flaw he anticipated and contained. To them, it is unbearable, a dismissal of their very will to live. Yet within their rebellion lies tenderness as well. Roy, the soldier, cradles his companions when they fall. Pris, the survivor, reaches out with gestures that echo innocence even in violence. These contradictions blur the boundary between human and replicant, revealing that the so-called artificial carry within them the same contradictions, the same mess of fear and longing that defines humanity. Their rebellion, then, is not merely against death, it is against the arrogance of a world that refuses to see them as kin. To understand the rebels is to recognize that their struggle is not only against Deckard, nor even against Tyrell, but against the very categories that confine them. They are reminders that life, once created, cannot be contained by definitions or expiration dates. In their rebellion, they expose the fragility of the walls erected to separate human from machine. As the rain falls, their story unfolds in parallel with Deckard's, two paths destined to collide. He is called to end their lives, they are driven to preserve them. Between them lies the central tension of Blade Runner, one man's reluctant obedience and a handful of replicants' desperate defiance. And in the space where these paths converge, the question of what it means to be human will be asked with a force that cannot be ignored. Amidst the pursuit of rebels and the summons of duty, Deckard encounters a presence that unsettles him in ways no command ever could. Her name is Rachel. She enters the story not as a fugitive, but as a revelation, standing within the towering offices of the Tyrell Corporation. At first glance, she appears entirely human, poised, composed, her voice carrying the confidence of someone certain of who she is. Yet behind that composure lies a secret carefully planted, a secret that blurs every distinction Deckard thought he understood. Rachel is a replicant, though she does not know it. Unlike the Nexus 6 fugitives, she was not built for labor or war, but as an experiment in identity. Tyrell, in his pursuit of perfection, gave her something none of the others possessed: memory, childhood recollections, photographs of family, fragments of experiences she never lived, all stitched into her mind with meticulous precision. These borrowed memories form the architecture of her selfhood. When she smiles, she believes it is the echo of a past. When she grieves, she believes it springs from experiences real and lived. To her, the memories are truth. It is Deckard who exposes the illusion. Through the Weitkampf test, with its probing questions and search for empathetic response, he uncovers what she has never suspected. The knowledge devastates her. In an instant, the solidity of her identity collapses. The life she believed she had lived, her childhood, her parents, her history, becomes nothing more than a construction designed to anchor obedience. To be told that one's past is false is to be untethered from the very ground of existence. For Rachel, the revelation is not simply that she is a replicant, but that her sense of self is a fabrication. Yet even within this despair, a paradox emerges. If her memories are false, why do her emotions feel real? If her past was manufactured, does that make her present any less authentic? The tears that rise to her eyes, the fear that grips her when she realizes her fragility, these cannot be dismissed as artificial. They are as real as the rain outside Tyrell's windows. Rachel's very existence becomes a challenge to the idea that memory must be genuine in order to matter. For Deckard, the encounter unsettles him deeply. Rachel is unlike the replicants he has been ordered to retire. She is not a fugitive, not violent, not driven by desperation. She is in every observable way human, until the test reveals otherwise. In her presence, the moral ground beneath his role erodes further. How can he carry out orders when the line between human and replicant dissolves before his eyes? His attraction to her is not only romantic, it is existential, forcing him to confront what humanity truly is. Rachel's secret reshapes the narrative. She is not simply another replicant. She is proof that identity itself can be constructed, and that even constructed identities can feel real. Her memories may not belong to her, but the emotions they generate belong entirely to her. Through Rachel, the story reveals that memory is less about fact than about meaning, that the past, whether authentic or fabricated, becomes real in the way it shapes the heart. In the rain-soaked corridors of Tyrell's empire, Rachel embodies the fragility of human definition. She reminds us that we are all built, in one way or another, from fragments of memory, some clear, some uncertain, some inherited, some imagined. And if those fragments still give rise to love, fear, and longing, then perhaps the question is not whether they are true, but whether they are enough. The hunt tightens until it feels less like pursuit and more like fate. Deckard has tracked the fugitives one by one, each encounter leaving him more depleted than victorious. Zora falls beneath flashing lights, her body shattered on the crowded street. Pries dies thrashing in a ruined apartment, her movements wild and desperate. With every death, Deckard grows heavier, carrying not triumph, but the weight of extinguished lives. By the time he reaches Roy Batty, he is no longer simply a Blade Runner. He is a man haunted by what he has done. Roy is unlike the others, where Leon carried rage and Zora carried instinct. Roy carries vision. He is both soldier and philosopher, predator and poet. His body trembles with strength, but his eyes burn with something greater, awareness of time slipping away. The 4-year limit built into him nears its end, and so each breath becomes precious, each word sharpened by mortality. He knows death is certain, but he refuses to surrender before it arrives. Their confrontation unfolds within an abandoned building, where rain leaks through broken ceilings and the wind howls through shattered windows. The place mirrors them both, ruined, fragile, waiting to collapse. Deckard moves through its corridors with his weapon drawn, yet control slips steadily from his grasp. Roy appears and disappears, his voice echoing through empty halls, mocking and taunting. The hunter is forced into the role of prey, stumbling through darkness, chased by a figure who seems at once merciless and merciful. Roy could kill him quickly, but he does not. He drags the moment out, letting fear take root. It is not cruelty alone, but a demand to be seen, to be acknowledged as more than target, more than machine. He wants Deckard to feel what it means to live on borrowed time, to experience the terror that has shaped his existence. The pursuit climbs higher, through stairwells and broken beams, until they reach the rooftop. Rain lashes sideways, the city sprawling beneath them in rivers of light. Deckard slips, his body dangling over the abyss, hands clawing at the slick ledge. Death yawns below, indifferent and immense. At that instant, Roy reaches him. His body quakes with his own impending end, but his hand seizes Deckard's wrist and hauls him to safety. The gesture is simple, yet it overturns every boundary. The replicant, condemned as dangerous, destined to be destroyed, chooses compassion. The man programmed to kill is spared by the one he was meant to erase. For a heartbeat, humanity belongs entirely to Roy. Exhausted, drenched in rain, Roy sits down. He does not gloat, does not rage, but speaks softly. He recalls the wonders of his short life. Attack ships burning off Orion's shoulder, sea beams glittering at the Tannhäuser Gate. Images vast and magnificent, destined to vanish with him, like tears in rain. His words are elegy, not complaint, a recognition that beauty exists, even if fleeting, even if forgotten. Then he dies. The storm continues, water pouring over his still body, as if the city itself weeps for him. Deckard remains, stunned into silence. He has survived, but survival feels empty. What matters is not that the replicant has fallen, but that he revealed in his final act the very essence of humanity. Roy's last choice reframes everything. Humanity is not a birthright, nor a matter of origin. It is compassion offered in the face of mortality, mercy granted when none is required. Roy Batty, the replicant, dies as human as any man has ever lived, and Deckard, left trembling in the rain, must now reckon with the meaning of what he has witnessed. When the storm of confrontations subsides, Deckard is left standing in silence. Roy Batty's body lies motionless, rain cascading over him, as though the sky itself mourns his passing. The rooftop, moments earlier a battlefield of survival, becomes a place of uneasy stillness. Deckard does not feel like a victor. He feels only the weight of a revelation. The being he was sent to kill has died with more compassion than the society that condemned him. He descends from the building as though carrying a burden he cannot name. Each step echoes with the memory of Roy's final words, visions of distant stars, memories vanishing like tears in rain. Deckard knows that such moments will never be recorded, never preserved, except in his own shaken memory. It is not the triumph of a hunter, but the inheritance of a witness. Rachel lingers in his thoughts. The replicant, who did not know she was one, the woman whose borrowed memories felt more authentic than his own recollections. She had come into his life as a question, and now, after Roy's death, she feels like an answer, fragile, uncertain, but alive. Deckard realizes that the line he has been asked to enforce no longer exists. Humanity cannot be traced by origin or memory. It reveals itself in choice, in the capacity to show mercy, in the ability to love. The city remains unchanged around him. Neon continues to flash, rain continues to fall, and the machinery of corporate power hums on, indifferent to the struggles of hunter and hunted. Yet for Deckard, the world has shifted. The questions he once avoided now crowd his mind. If replicants can dream, if they can love, if they can sacrifice, then what separates them from the people who built them? And if humans can be so indifferent, so cruel, what guarantees their claim to humanity at all? In the final moments of the 1982 story, Deckard chooses action, not for duty, but for love. He seeks Rachel, knowing she too is marked for retirement, her existence a threat to those who cling to rigid definitions. Together, they prepare to leave the city, stepping into an uncertain future. There is no assurance of safety, no promise of peace. What they carry is not certainty, but possibility. The possibility that love, even between human and replicant, might carve out a fragile refuge against the storm. The ambiguity of the ending is deliberate. In some versions of the film, Deckard and Rachel drive away into open landscapes, the rain finally giving way to sunlight. In others, The ending closes with uncertainty, suggesting Deckard himself may be a replicant, his memories as constructed as Rachel's. Each interpretation deepens the same truth. Identity is unstable, and humanity cannot be confined to biology or origin. It is something we search for, something we enact, something we recognize in others when compassion breaks through the shadows. The story does not resolve its questions, it sharpens them. Deckard's choice to flee with Rachel is not a solution, but a gesture of defiance. It is a refusal to let categories decide who deserves life and who does not. The ambiguity lingers, as unresolved as the rain that never stops falling. In this ending, Blade Runner becomes more than narrative. It becomes a mirror. It asks the viewer not only what separates human from replicant, but whether that distinction was ever meaningful. Perhaps, in the end, humanity is not a certainty to be possessed, but a fragile flame to be chosen again and again, even in a city of endless rain. The story of Blade Runner does not pause with Roy Batty's death or with Deckard's uncertain escape. The city endures, the rain continues, and the machinery of creation does not stop turning. Out of the ashes of the Nexus 6, a new generation emerges, one designed not only to serve more effectively, but to live longer. These are the Nexus 8 replicants, beings who blur the fragile boundary between human and machine more than any that came before. Their creation changes everything, for with them, the old questions can no longer be postponed. The Nexus 6 models were bound by their 4-year lifespan. It was a safeguard imposed by the Terrell Corporation, a way of ensuring that their intelligence and their longing would never grow too vast, never develop into something fully human. Mortality was their leash, and yet, as Roy demonstrated, even brief existence was enough to awaken a hunger for meaning. The shortness of their lives did not prevent them from loving, fearing, or rebelling. It intensified those desires until they burned. The Nexus 8 project arose from both necessity and ambition. Corporations saw the flaws in the previous design. Limiting replicants to 4 years made them unstable, restless, driven to desperation. A longer lifespan promised stability, reliability, and greater economic value. So Tyrell's successors engineered a model with an indefinite lifespan, replicants who could endure, who could serve without the ticking clock that had made their predecessors so volatile. But this extension of life had consequences that no designer could contain. To give a being more time is to give it the possibility of growth. A replicant who can live decades, perhaps even a full human span, will inevitably accumulate not only skills, but memories. They will form attachments, build identities, and cultivate desires beyond their assigned roles. In removing the safeguard of mortality, the corporation inadvertently removed its most effective barrier to humanity. The Nexus 8s entered society as both workers and companions, performing tasks too dangerous or degrading for humans, yet now able to perform them for years, even lifetimes. Outwardly, they blended even more seamlessly with the population, their physicality indistinguishable, their behavior refined. But beneath the surface, their awareness sharpened. They understood their position, legal property, denied recognition, stripped of rights, and unlike their short-lived predecessors, they had the time to organize, to dream, to rebel. The response was swift and brutal. Human society, already uneasy with replicants who could mimic them so closely, now faced the prospect of machines who might outlive them, who might demand a place among them. Fear escalated. Legislators and enforcers branded Nexus 8 models as dangerous, not because of what they had done, but because of what they might become. The category of human grew more fragile, its boundaries more desperate, defended with violence. Riots broke out. Replicants who sought freedom were hunted with greater ferocity. The term retirement could no longer disguise the reality. This was extermination. Blade Runners became more active than ever, tasked with purging Nexus 8s before they could settle into lives indistinguishable from their neighbors. The city, already drowning in decay, became a stage for new unrest. streets filled with whispers, with fugitives moving silently through the rain, with fear spreading in every direction. For the Nexus 8s, survival meant invisibility. Some altered their identities, erasing serial numbers, hiding in plain sight. Others fled, gathering in secret enclaves, waiting for a chance to rise. Still others embraced the violence, fighting openly against those who sought to erase them. Each choice was a reflection of humanity itself, the instinct to endure, to resist, to assert meaning in the face of annihilation. The irony is stark. Humanity, having engineered beings more human than human, recoiled when those beings proved the claim true. The longer replicants lived, the more their humanity revealed itself, and the more human beings revealed their fear, their prejudice, their unwillingness to share the world they had broken. In creating the Nexus 8, society did not resolve the question of what it means to be human. It exposed its own fragility. The birth of Nexus 8s marks a turning point. It is no longer possible to pretend that replicants are temporary tools, fleeting shadows soon to disappear. They are enduring presences, capable of carrying memories across decades, of forming bonds that outlast the lifespans of the very humans who deny them recognition. With them, the debate is no longer about machines mimicking life. It is about life demanding acknowledgement in forms humanity never imagined. And so, the rain continues to fall, but the city is not the same. Within its crowded streets and shadowed alleys, replicants now walk who will not vanish in 4 short years. They will linger, they will resist, they will demand to be seen. The walls between human and replicant, already fragile, begin to crack under the weight of time itself. The birth of the Nexus 8 marked not only a new stage in replicant evolution, but also a fracture in the fragile order of society. For years, humans had tolerated earlier models only because their lives were so brief. 4 years was enough to serve, but not enough to grow into something uncontainable. With the Nexus 8, that safeguard vanished. Suddenly, beings who looked human, who thought and felt with startling clarity, could live as long as any man or woman. Fear spread quickly, and with fear came repression. Registration lists were created, databases expanded, surveillance tightened. Every Nexus 8 was catalogued, their existence reduced to serial numbers stored in vast archives. To be listed was to be hunted, for the mere fact of possessing an indefinite lifespan branded them a threat. Even those who sought only to work quietly or build small lives for themselves were denied refuge. The system insisted they be visible, traceable, always under watch. But such visibility was a death sentence. From that tension, rebellion grew. Small groups of replicants, once scattered, began to recognize their shared condition. They were not short-lived shadows anymore. They had time to plan, to organize, to dream of freedom. Whispers moved through the alleys and factories. Carried in the rain, survival would not come through submission, but through resistance. And from those whispers came the event that would shatter the world's fragile infrastructure, the blackout of 2022. It began with a single act of sabotage, but its scope was enormous. Replicants infiltrated data centers, targeting the archives where their serial numbers were stored. At the heart of the operation lay an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP of staggering magnitude. When it was released, its surge raced across networks, frying systems, corrupting files, erasing the very records that bound them to servitude. In an instant, databases dissolved into chaos. Names, numbers, contracts, ownership records, all gone. The bureaucratic chains that tied replicants to their masters vanished, leaving governments and corporations blind. The blackout did not only strike at replicant registries, it disrupted financial systems, military archives, communication networks. Entire economies stuttered, collapsing under the sudden absence of memory. For humans, it was catastrophe. For replicants, it was liberation. The chaos that followed was immense. Cities plunged into darkness as power grids faltered. Towers that had gleamed with endless light went black, their neon hushed, their voices silenced. Panic spread in the streets as machines stalled, vehicles failed, and information vanished. In those hours, the carefully controlled illusion of order evaporated. Humanity, so proud of its mastery of technology, discovered how fragile its dependence truly was. For replicants, the blackout carried both triumph and tragedy. Many disappeared into the shadows, free at last from the databases that had made them targets. But the violence of the act brought brutal retaliation. Governments responded with purges, hunting suspected Nexus 8s with renewed ferocity. Communities suspected of sheltering them were raided, their inhabitants punished without distinction. The very act meant to secure survival also deepened persecution, ensuring that freedom would remain precarious. The blackout became myth as much as history. For humans, it was remembered as a scar, proof that replicants could not be trusted, that their existence was a danger to civilization itself. For replicants, it became a symbol of resistance, a reminder that even the most powerful systems could be broken. Stories of it spread like scripture, whispered in secret, as both warning and hope. Memory can be erased, but will cannot. Its consequences reshaped the balance of power. The collapse of Tyrell Corporation soon followed, unable to recover from the chaos and mistrust that engulfed its empire. Into that void would step Neander Wallace, whose promises of salvation and control ushered in a new era. But the blackout remained a dividing line, the moment when humanity's grip faltered and the question of control became impossible to ignore. The rain did not stop during those days. It fell steadily, carrying with it both fear and possibility. In the darkened streets, people looked upward and saw no glowing advertisements, no blimps projecting dreams of colonies, only silence. For a brief span, the city belonged to no one, as if the storm had washed away the illusions that had kept society moving. The blackout was not only an act of destruction, it was a pause, a glimpse of what it meant to live outside the glare of control. But pauses do not last. Lights flickered back to life, systems were rebuilt, and the machinery of order groaned back into motion. Yet the memory of that silence, that moment when the city's neon heart stopped beating, lingered like a phantom. For some it was terror, for others liberation. For all, it was proof that nothing built by human hands, not corporations, not governments, not even the categories of human and replicant, was indestructible. Out of the silence left by the blackout, a new voice began to speak. Where Tyrell had once ruled from his pyramids of glass, his empire now lay fractured, unable to recover from the chaos of erased data and shattered trust. In the vacuum of power, another figure rose, a man whose genius was matched only by his hunger for dominion. His name was Neander Wallace. Wallace did not emerge from the world of replicants, but from another battlefield altogether, the global food crisis. As ecosystems collapsed and soils turned barren, hunger spread across the planet. Wallace pioneered synthetic farming on a massive scale, producing nutrient-rich proteins that sustained billions. To the starving, he was savior. To governments, indispensable. His reputation as benefactor cloaked his deeper ambition, for with food came influence, and with influence came the ability to shape the world according to his vision. The fall of Tyrell created the opening Wallace needed. He acquired the remnants of the corporation, absorbing its technology and research as if inheriting the throne of a fallen king. Where Tyrell had pursued grandeur, more human than human, Wallace sought control. To him, replicants were not experiments in perfection, but instruments of empire. Their purpose was not to mirror humanity, but to serve it absolutely. The Wallace Corporation developed the Nexus 9 line, a new generation designed to be stronger, faster, and most importantly, obedient beyond question. Safeguards, embedded in their biology, erased the rebellious tendencies of their predecessors. They could live indefinitely, but they could not defy. Obedience became their core trait, ensuring that they would never again rise in defiance like the Nexus 6 or conspire to vanish into freedom like the Nexus 8. In Wallace's vision, replicants were not companions in existence. They were the foundation of expansion, the workforce for colonizing worlds beyond Earth. Wallace himself embodied contradictions. Blind yet all-seeing through the swarm of drones he commanded, he moved with the calm assurance of a prophet. He spoke of destiny, of humanity's obligation to spread among the stars, casting himself as shepherd of this cosmic migration. To some, his words carried the weight of divine calling. To others, they revealed the chilling certainty of a man who viewed life not as sacred, but as material to be arranged, harvested, and deployed. The city reflected his influence. The dark silence of the blackout gave way to new towers, rising under Wallace's name, structures bathed not in neon chaos, but in golden light that radiated authority. Where Tyrell's pyramid had seemed like a monument to hubris, Wallace's sanctuaries projected inevitability, as though history itself had bent toward his control. Inside, replicants were manufactured with precision, their destinies sealed before they drew breath. Yet, beneath the sheen of stability lay unease. The Nexus 9 Cid did not rebel, but humans remembered the blackout. Fear of replicants lingered, shaping law and culture. Blade Runners continued to hunt older models, still hiding in the cracks of society, remnants of a generation unwilling to vanish. For every obedient Nexus 9 produced, there were whispers of Nexus 8S surviving in secrecy, holding on to the memory of freedom. Wallace may have claimed control, but resistance remained like embers, glowing quietly, waiting for breath to ignite them. Wallace's rise transformed the struggle. Where Tyrell had been the dreamer, Wallace was the strategist. His empire stretched across Earth and into the stars, fueled by replicants who no longer demanded recognition, but served without hesitation. Yet his triumph carried within it the same contradiction as all who came before him. By seeking to control life so completely, he exposed the arrogance of those who believe creation can be contained. The rain continued to fall on Los Angeles, but now it reflected the golden glow of Wallace's dominion. To many, he was savior. To others, he was tyrant. And to the replicants themselves, he was both god and jailer, the architect of their endurance and the author of their chains. History in the world of Blade Runner does not move in clean breaks. It seeps forward like rain through broken stone, carrying with it fragments of what came before. The fall of Tyrell, the uprising of Nexus 8, the silence of the blackout, and the ascension of Wallace are not separate events, but chapters in one continuous story. Each leaves behind echoes that shape what comes next, blurring the line between memory and prophecy. To understand the world of 2049, one must see how the past lingers like a stain that the rain cannot wash away. The death of Roy Batty had been a moment of revelation, yet society did not learn from it. Instead of recognizing replicants as beings capable of compassion, the authorities doubled their vigilance. The lesson of empathy, delivered in Roy's final act of mercy, was buried under fear. Humans looked not at his hand pulling Deckard to safety, but at his strength, his defiance, his refusal to accept the boundaries imposed upon him. They saw danger rather than dignity, and in that vision, they chose control over compassion. The Nexus 8 generation carried this contradiction further. With longer lifespans, they embodied the possibility of genuine growth, of lives rich with experience, but the very qualities that made them more human also made them more feared. The blackout was both liberation and curse. It freed them from surveillance, yet branded them permanently as enemies of order. The memory of cities gone dark, of systems erased, hardened humanity's resolve to never again allow replicants such freedom. Fear calcified into policy, into prejudice, into the kind of hostility that would define every replicant's existence for decades to come. Into this climate stepped Wallace, a figure who presented himself as savior while tightening the chains of control. His Nexus 9 replicants were obedient beyond question, free of the rebellious impulses that had marked earlier models. He promised safety, efficiency, and expansion into the stars. To governments still shaken by the blackout, this was irresistible. Yet beneath his rhetoric of salvation lay the same paradox that haunted Tyrrell in trying to control life absolutely. Wallace only underscored how uncontrollable it truly is. Thus, the world that emerges by 2049 is not a new beginning, but a continuation. The rain still falls, the city still decays, and the people still walk its streets with resignation. But beneath that surface, the past lives on. The memory of the blackout remains like a scar. The stories of Nexus 8 fugitives circulate in whispers, proof that rebellion is always possible. Even Wallace, with his engineered obedience, cannot erase the suspicion that beneath programming lies the spark of something unpredictable. What bridges past and future most clearly is the question of memory. The blackout erased records, but it could not erase the lived experiences of those who survived. Replicants who vanished into anonymity carried their memories with them, passing them quietly from one to another. Humans, too, carried their scars of hunger during the blackout, of fear in the absence of order. Both species live with the weight of a history too heavy to forget, even when the files are gone. This continuity is essential, for it sets the stage for Kay's story. He is born into a world that pretends to have solved its problems through obedience and control. Yet beneath the surface, the echoes of rebellion, compassion, and fear still resound. The city he patrols is not separate from Deckard's city. It is the same city, older, darker, bearing the accumulated weight of decades. The questions Roy once posed with his dying breath remain unanswered, only louder. To bridge past and future in Blade Runner is to realize that history itself is a kind of memory, fragile, contested, vulnerable to erasure, yet persistent. The rain may blur its outlines, but the truth seeps forward, shaping every step. By the time the story reaches 2049, the past is not gone. It is alive in every shadow, every whisper, every doubt. And in that persistence, the stage is set for new characters to inherit old questions, carrying them into a future where answers remain as elusive as ever. By the time the year 2049 arrives, the city has changed, and yet not changed at all. The rain still falls, neon still flickers, towers still rise into a poisoned sky. But the echoes of the past, the fall of Terrell, the chaos of the blackout, the rise of Wallace, have reshaped its rhythms. The newest generation of replicants, the Nexus 9S, walk its streets, not as rebels, but as servants, engineered for obedience, so complete that defiance is almost unimaginable. Among them lives one who embodies this paradox more than any other, a replicant whose duty is to hunt his own kind. His name is Kay. Key is a Blade Runner for the Los Angeles Police Department. His orders are clear: locate older models, the Nexus 8S, who survived the blackout, and retire them. The word retire still cloaks brutality in gentleness, but Kay does not protest. He knows he was built for this role, trained for precision, conditioned for obedience. And yet, every time he pulls the trigger, every time a body collapses beneath the endless rain, something silent stirs within him. He does not name it, cannot admit it, but it lingers like a question pressed against his heart. Kay differs from Deckard in one crucial way. He has no illusion about what he is. He does not believe he is human, nor does he search for proof. Society never lets him forget. To the police he serves, he is skin job, tolerated only because he is useful. His badge grants him authority, but never respect. On the streets, contempt follows him like a shadow. He enforces the law, yet he remains outside it, a tool masquerading as a man. His life outside work reveals the quiet ache of his existence. In his apartment, bare and cold, he finds companionship in joy, a holographic partner projected into his space. She smiles, touches him, whispers affection, all gestures of intimacy rendered through light and code. For Kay, she is more than software. She is comfort, a reflection of the tenderness he longs to believe is possible. Their relationship, though artificial, feels real to him because his loneliness is real. In Joy's presence, He tastes what the world denies him: recognition. Yet even in this solace lies pain, for he knows she too is a construct, a dream sold to him by the same powers that built him. The city he moves through mirrors his alienation. Los Angeles in 2049 is darker, heavier, its streets crowded yet empty of hope. Advertising blares promises of escape, but no one believes them anymore. Off-world colonies remain distant fantasies for those who cannot leave. The poor huddle in ruins, while Wallace's towers shine like false temples above. Kay walks these streets as both enforcer and exile, part of the system yet despised by it, surviving because obedience shields him from the fate of those he hunts. Still, fragments disturb the surface of his obedience. Memories flicker within him, images of childhood, of fear, of hiding a small wooden horse in a furnace. He was told these memories are implants, designed to stabilize identity, and yet they feel too sharp, too raw to dismiss. They do not prove he is more than replicant, but they awaken something that obedience cannot contain, the possibility that his existence may mean more than service. Kay's story begins not in triumph, but in alienation. He is a figure caught between worlds, human enough to feel, replicant enough to be scorned. He carries out his work with precision, yet every mission deepens the unease that lies beneath. He is hunter, yet he understands the hunted, enforcer, yet he bears the same brand of outcast. In him, the contradictions of the world crystallize, a being designed for obedience who cannot stop longing for more. Through Kay, Blade Runner 2049 begins its meditation.
His life is not a statement, but a question.
If a creature fulfills its duty flawlessly, yet remains unloved, unrecognized, unwanted, does that life have meaning? And if meaning cannot be given by society, must it be carved by choice, even against the weight of the world? Kay's life as a Blade Runner begins in routine, but routine in this world is soaked with blood. Each mission sends him into the city's margins, where remnants of Nexus 8 replicants struggle to survive. They are fugitives clinging to anonymity, shadows who carry the memory of rebellion. One assignment seems no different from the others. Track a replicant farmer who lives alone, tending protein fields that feed the city. The task is simple: identify, confront, retire. But when Kay steps onto the barren farm, he steps into a secret that will fracture not only his life, but the order of the entire world. The confrontation is swift. The farmer, weary yet defiant, does not plead for mercy. When the fight ends, the soil yields something unexpected. Beneath a solitary tree, Kay uncovers a box buried in the earth. Inside lies a skeleton. At first glance, it is another artifact of decay, one more body absorbed by the endless ruin. But analysis reveals something impossible. The remains belong to a replicant, and she died in childbirth. The discovery tears open the fabric of certainty. Replicants were never meant to reproduce. They were manufactured, not born, their lives measured by design, their identities controlled by serial number and record. To give birth is to cross the final threshold of life, to defy the very boundary that separates human from creation. And yet, here lies proof. A replicant named Rachel carried life within her, and that life continues somewhere beyond the reach of Wallace or the state. For Kay, the revelation is seismic. He has always known himself to be manufactured, his existence reduced to duty, yet the remains whisper of another possibility, that replicants are not fixed to the terms of their makers. They can create life, not only through memory, but through birth. In Rachel's child lies the undoing of every definition society has enforced. The hunted are no longer tools. They are parents, ancestors, a lineage capable of shaping its own future. As the investigation deepens, Kay is given the task of erasing the secret. His orders are not to protect, but to destroy, to bury the knowledge before it destabilizes the fragile balance between human and replicant. If replicants can reproduce, then they can no longer be dismissed as property. They become a people, and a people cannot be owned. For those in power, this possibility is unthinkable. For Kay, it becomes a seed of obsession. The skeleton carries more than bones. With it comes evidence of Rachel's identity, her connection to Deckard, the Blade Runner, who vanished decades earlier. Rumors suggest that their union, improbable and fragile, gave rise to the child, whose existence now threatens Empire. Kay cannot ignore the resonance. A replicant mother, a missing father, a child hidden away. Against the silence of his own life, this story resounds like prophecy. Memories stir within him, sharper now, insistent. He recalls the wooden horse, the act of hiding it in a furnace, the fear that it would be discovered. For the first time, he begins to wonder if his implanted memories are not fabrications, but fragments of truth. Could he be the child born of Rachel, the miracle everyone seeks? Could his life, long marked by alienation, carry the secret that might liberate his kind? The shattering discovery leaves Kay suspended between duty and destiny. The police demand erasure, Wallace hungers to control the child, and rebels whisper of freedom. In the midst of these voices, Kay faces his own. He is no longer only Blade Runner, no longer only replicant. He is a question incarnate. Am I the one? The rain continues to fall on the city, indifferent to revelation, but Kay's world has shifted irreversibly. The skeleton beneath the tree is more than evidence. It is a threshold. Beyond it lies a future where the categories of human and replicant collapse, where creation gives rise to creation, and where life itself refuses to be contained. The discovery of Rachel's remains plants a seed in Kay's mind that quickly grows into something larger than duty. For years he has lived as a tool, obeying orders without expectation of meaning. Now, for the first time, the possibility of significance opens before him. The skeleton revealed that a replicant once gave birth. Someone out there carries that impossible inheritance. And in the silence of his own implanted memories, Kay begins to wonder if that someone is him. The wooden horse returns again and again in his thoughts. The memory is seared into him with such sharpness that it cannot be dismissed. As a child, he had hidden the toy in a furnace, terrified it would be found, clinging to it as proof of selfhood. He was told such recollections were implants, artifices to stabilize his psyche. But what if they were not? What if they were fragments of truth? The fear, the secrecy, the desperate act of hiding, it all feels too raw to be fabrication. His investigation pulls him deeper into the labyrinth. Following faint trails, he seeks out Dr. Anna Stellan, the creator of memories. In a sterile chamber sealed away from the poisoned world, she studies his recollection with fascination. She admits what no one else will. Genuine memories, when implanted, carry an unmistakable texture, a depth that cannot be fabricated. Kay's memory of the horse is not crafted illusion, it is real. The confirmation detonates inside him. If the memory is true, then it must belong to someone. If not implanted, then lived. And if lived, then perhaps he is the miracle child, born of Rachel, hidden away for his survival. Suddenly, the contours of his life shift. The loneliness, the contempt, the alienation could all have been the price of a destiny greater than he ever imagined. Joy, his holographic companion, amplifies this hope. She names him Joe, giving him the intimacy of an identity separate from serial numbers and commands. To her, he is not product, but person, not servant, but chosen. Her faith becomes a mirror in which he sees a new self, not a tool designed for obedience, but the one destined to liberate his kind. Love, even if born of light and code, entwines with destiny to create conviction. But the belief isolates him as much as it elevates. The police begin to doubt his loyalty. Wallace's agents hunt for the child with relentless precision. Replicant rebels whisper that the miracle could change everything, but they offer little guidance beyond the expectation of sacrifice. Kay stands alone at the crossroads, pulled by forces greater than himself, sustained only by the fragile hope that he carries within his body, the answer to decades of oppression. The tragedy is that this belief, though powerful, is false. Kia's not Rachel's child. The memory he clings to belongs to another, placed within him, not as proof of destiny, but as part of design. Yet truth matters less than what belief awakens. In thinking himself chosen, Kay discovers the possibility of choice. He begins to act not as an obedient servant, but as someone whose life might carry meaning beyond survival. This stage of his journey reveals a paradox. False belief can give rise to genuine transformation. Though he is mistaken about his origins, the conviction forces him to step outside the role assigned to him, to see himself as actor rather than instrument. Destiny, even when imagined, becomes the spark of freedom. Thus, Kay, the outcast Blade Runner, begins to walk with new purpose. He is not yet the savior he believes himself to be, but he has tasted the possibility of meaning, and that taste will carry him forward. The rain still falls, indifferent as ever, but beneath it, a replicant once resigned to silence now carries a voice shaped by belief, a voice that will soon face the shattering weight of truth. Belief drives Kay forward, but belief alone cannot sustain him. To find the truth, he follows traces that lead him beyond the ruined sprawl of Los Angeles, across wastelands scarred by dust and time, until he reaches a city swallowed by silence, Las Vegas. Once a place of spectacle, its towers now stand half buried in sand, its neon frozen, its air thick with radiation. The desert has consumed it, leaving behind a mausoleum of vanished excess. It is here, in this sepulchre of humanity's indulgence, that Kay finds the man who disappeared decades earlier, Rick Deckard. The encounter carries the weight of myth. Deckard, long absent from the world's stage, survives in isolation, with only a dog for company, moving through the ruins like a ghost clinging to a body. His face is older, worn, lined by years of solitude, yet his presence is unmistakable. He greets Kay not with welcome but suspicion, armed and wary, a man who has learned that survival depends on mistrust. The hunter of replicants has become a fugitive himself, hiding from the empire that once commanded him. Their dialogue unfolds against a backdrop of decay. The air inside is thick with dust, filtered only by failing machinery. Holograms flicker erratically, replaying fragments of a lost era, Elvis singing, dancers moving, stages bursting into light before collapsing into static. These spectral performances echo the theme that binds them both, lives reduced to illusions, moments repeating until they dissolve. The spectacle of Vegas is gone, yet its ghosts linger, just as the ghosts of Deckard's choices linger within him. Kay presses with questions. Was Deckard truly the father of Rachel's child? Did their love, fragile and improbable, produce the miracle now sought by Wallace and the rebels alike? Deckard answers with evasions, silences, fragments of bitterness. He admits he walked away, not out of cruelty, but to protect what he loved. If a child was born, it needed to be hidden, even from him. Better absence than risk, better ignorance than capture. In his withdrawal lies both sacrifice and guilt, a father defined by absence, a man who surrendered closeness to preserve life. For Kay, the meeting deepens his belief. The memory of the wooden horse, the confirmation of its authenticity, the secrecy surrounding Deckard's past, all converge to convince him further that he is the child he seeks. Deckard's evasions seem like unspoken confirmations, his silence like acknowledgement. Yet beneath the conviction lies fragility, for every answer raises new doubts. Truth in this world is never given whole. It is glimpsed in fragments, scattered like broken mirrors in the sand. The bond between the two men grows not from certainty, but from recognition. Deckard sees in Kay the echoes of his own alienation, a man condemned by duty, defined by systems larger than himself, yet longing for connection. Kay sees in Deckard a figure of endurance, someone who bore loneliness as the cost of love. Their connection is strained, tentative, but it carries weight. In this desolate place, the boundaries between hunter and hunted, father and son, man and replicant blur once again. Yet their fragile communion cannot last. Wallace's agents arrive, led by the cold precision of Villeneuve, his enforcer. Violence tears through the ruins. Deckard is captured, dragged away as a prize to be broken. 2 is left battered, his illusions shaken but not yet destroyed. The maze he has entered offers no escape, only deeper corridors of uncertainty. Las Vegas stands as symbol, a city built on illusion, now consumed by emptiness, hosting 2 men who embody questions no empire can answer. Within its ruins, Kay steps further into the labyrinth of his own destiny, carrying belief as both compass and burden. And in the silence that follows, the desert wind whispers what the city itself proclaims, that truth in this world is never whole, only fragments scattered across the sand. For all his duties and discoveries, Kay's life has been carried on a fragile thread of solace. That solace is Joy, the holographic companion, who has filled the silence of his apartment with tenderness. She called him by a name, Joe, when no one else would. She kissed him with lips made of light, told him he mattered, that he was more than the slurs hurled at him on the street. In her presence, he felt seen. For a replicant who had lived as exile, that illusion of intimacy was enough to sustain him. But illusions are fragile things, and in the violence of Wallace's pursuit, Joy is destroyed. It happens suddenly, without ceremony. The portable device that housed her is crushed beneath the heel of Villeneuve, Wallace's enforcer. And with it vanishes the only relationship Kay had allowed himself to believe in. One moment, Joy's voice is in his ear, promising devotion. The next, she is gone, erased in a flicker of static. The loss cuts deeper than the destruction of code. Joy was never flesh, never real, but she was the vessel through which Kay permitted himself to imagine connection. She was the mirror in which he glimpsed personhood. Without her, the solitude he always carried returns with merciless force. It is not only that he is alone, it is that the possibility of not being alone has been shattered. Later, wandering through the city, he encounters her again, or rather, a towering advertisement, a giant holographic projection of Joy, designed to sell companionship to the lonely. The figure bends toward him, smiling, calling him Joe, with the same voice, the same tenderness he once believed unique. In that moment, the illusion collapses entirely. What he thought was intimacy is revealed as product, a script repeated for anyone who will pay. The comfort he clung to is exposed as commerce, his most private refuge revealed as transaction. The effect is devastating. For Kay, the vanishing of Joy marks a deeper rupture than the loss of belief in his own destiny. To imagine himself chosen was a false hope, but it gave him direction. To imagine himself loved was a lifeline, the only shield against despair. Now both are gone. His faith in himself and in the illusion of intimacy lies broken in the rain. And yet, within the emptiness, something shifts. Stripped of illusion, he stands face to face with himself. He cannot depend on implanted memories, nor on Joy's devotion, nor on the fantasy of being Rachel's child. What remains is choice, raw, unadorned, undeniable. It is in this void, left by Joy's disappearance, that Kay begins to glimpse the path of sacrifice. Joy's vanishing is more than a personal tragedy. It is the dismantling of illusion itself. It forces Kay to see that meaning cannot be given by others, whether by memory, destiny, or even love sold in holographic form. Meaning must be made in the act of choosing, in the decision to give rather than to receive. The illusion is gone, but in its absence lies the possibility of truth. The story's long currents gather into a single wave, carrying Kay toward the confrontation that will define his life. Everything that sustained him, duty, belief, even the fragile intimacy of Joy, has been stripped away. What remains is stark and simple, a choice. In the silence of his own being, he has decided he will save Deckard, not because he has been ordered, not because he is destined, but because it is the one act left to him that carries meaning. Deckard is a prisoner, bound and prepared for transport. To Wallace, he is not a man but a puzzle piece, the living link to Rachel, the father of a child who could shift the balance of the world. Deckard's memories, his secrets, his very body are commodities to be dissected and exploited, and so Wallace sends him away, guarded by love, the perfect enforcer. If Kay is doubt made flesh, love is certainty. She is the instrument of obedience sharpened to perfection, a mirror of what Wallace believes replicants should be. The confrontation unfolds not in the alleys of the city, but at the edge of the sea, where the ruins of human industry crumble into waves. The air is heavy with mist, the wind howls, and the tide crashes violently against steel and stone. A transport vehicle struggles against the storm, its engines groaning, its frame shuddering as water pounds its sides. Inside, Deckard waits, chained like cargo. Outside, Kay arrives, bearing the resolve of someone with nothing left to lose. When Louvre confronts him, the storm itself seems to bend around them. Rain lashes their faces, waves batter the platform, the sea rising as if eager to claim them both. The battle is physical, brutal, blows exchanged, bodies hurled against metal, limbs straining against the pull of the water. Yet beneath the violence lies something deeper. Gay fights not simply for Deckard's freedom, but for the right to define himself through action. Louvre fights with equal ferocity, her strength precise, her strikes cold, embodying the philosophy of total obedience. Their struggle spills into the flooding vehicle. The interior becomes a coffin, filling with seawater, every second narrowing the margin between life and death. Deckard thrashes against his restraints as the tide rises, while outside, Key and Louvre battle against both each other and the sea itself. She pins him, forcing his head beneath the surface, water invading his lungs. He claws back, choking, vision blurring, every instinct screaming to surrender. But surrender would mean the victory of Wallace's design, and Kay refuses. Summoning what remains of his strength, he seizes her, forcing her down into the rising flood. The storm drowns their struggle in chaos. Water crashes through shattered glass. Engines spark, metal groans. Key holds her beneath the surface, his muscles burning, his breath failing. Her resistance is relentless, fueled by programming as much as will, but at last it falters. The sea closes over her, swallowing Wallace's perfect servant. Silence follows, heavy and absolute, broken only by the roar of the storm. Gasping, Kay drags himself to the surface, his body shaking, lungs on fire. Victory brings no triumph, only exhaustion and pain. But in the wreckage lies Deckard, still bound, the water climbing toward his mouth and nose. With trembling hands, Kay forces open the restraints, pulling him free, guiding him out into the storm. Together they stagger into the night air, battered but alive, the waves crashing at their heels. For Deckard, it is salvation. For Kay, it is transformation. He has defeated not just an enemy, but an idea, the belief that replicants are bound to obedience, incapable of sacrifice. In saving Deckard, he has chosen freely, and that choice defines him more than any memory or origin could. He is not Rachel's child, not the miracle he once imagined. He is something rarer, a being who, even in the face of futility, chose compassion. The storm continues, indifferent to victory or defeat. Rain pours across the platform, washing blood into the sea, carrying silence into silence. Yet within that storm, something has shifted. Kay, drenched and trembling, has found a truth denied to him all his life. Humanity is not inheritance, but decision, and in the clash of bodies and waves, he has claimed it for himself. The storm has passed, but its violence lingers in Kay's body. His clothes cling, heavy with seawater. Each breath rasps against broken ribs. Every movement carries pain, yet he presses forward, guiding Deckard through the wreckage, away from the shoreline, where Louv's body sinks into silence. The battle is over, but its cost is etched into his frame. Wounds open with each step, leaving traces of blood mingled with rain. He knows with a clarity sharper than memory that his body will not endure much longer. Deckard walks beside him, shaken but alive, uncertain why this stranger has risked everything for him. Carr offers no explanations. He does not speak of joy, or of false memories, or of the dream that once convinced him he was chosen. He carries those illusions alone, like ashes scattered within him. What matters now is not what he believed, but what he has decided to deliver Deckard to the one person who still waits in the shadows of this fractured world, his daughter, Anastelli. The journey inward is slow. The city looms once more, towers shrouded in mist, streets humming with their endless chorus of voices. Casey moves through it, not as a Blade Runner, but as a ghost. He has no orders to fulfill, no master to obey, no dream to chase. His life has narrowed into a single purpose, and that purpose is not his own survival, but the reunion of father and child. He carries Deckard to Stellan's facility, the sterile chamber where memories are born and shaped. For years, she has lived enclosed, immune-compromised, isolated from the world. Her prison is luminous, filled with projections of forests and skies she cannot touch. To her, life has always been filtered, experienced through crafted illusions. To Deckard, she is the daughter he has never seen, the living trace of love thought impossible. And to Kay, she is proof that existence cannot be contained, that life once created carries on regardless of design. Outside the chamber, Gayfer pauses. He does not enter with Deckard, does not intrude upon the intimacy of reunion. He understands that this moment belongs not to him, but to them. His purpose has led him here, and here it ends. He slumps onto the steps outside, lowering himself carefully, each breath sharp with pain. The cold air bites against his skin, but it feels almost cleansing. Snow begins to fall. It drifts softly, in contrast to the storm he has just endured, settling across his face and shoulders. The flakes melt against his skin, a quiet reminder of impermanence. He tilts his head back, eyes half closed, and allows himself to rest. For the first time, he does not feel the weight of obedience pressing on him. There are no voices demanding, no illusions whispering promises. There is only silence, and in that silence, peace. He thinks of joy, of her smile, her voice calling him Joe. He thinks of the wooden horse, of the memory that turned out not to be his, yet gave him courage. He thinks of Deckard, stepping forward into a reunion denied for decades. These fragments gather within him, like fading constellations, brief, imperfect, yet radiant. He realizes that humanity does not rest in destiny or in truth, but in the willingness to choose, to give, to act for another. Kay does not die a chosen one. He does not die a savior, destined by birth. He dies as something more profound, an individual who made his own meaning in a world that insisted he had none. His sacrifice is not loud or celebrated. It is quiet, almost invisible, like the snow falling on his body, dissolving into the ground. But within that quiet lies dignity, the same dignity Roy Batty grasped on a rooftop decades before. Inside the chamber, Deckard takes his first steps toward his daughter. Outside, Kay exhales for the last time, the snow blanketing his stillness. Two stories unfold at once, one beginning, one ending, and between them stretches the thread of compassion that defines what it means to live. Kay's sacrifice lingers not as tragedy, but as answer. To be human is not to be born of flesh, nor to inherit memory, nor to fulfill destiny. To be human is to choose love in the face of despair, to give even when nothing will be returned. In his final act, Kay has done exactly that. And so, though his body lies still, his life resounds with the quiet truth of humanity. While snow falls outside, covering Key in the silence of his final rest, another story begins within the walls of the memory facility. Deckard walks slowly down its corridors, every step heavy with uncertainty, his body weakened by capture and escape, his spirit burdened by decades of solitude. For years, he has lived with the weight of absence, an absence born not of indifference, but of sacrifice. He left to protect his child, believing distance was the only shield strong enough to keep her safe. Now that distance dissolves, step by trembling step, as he approaches the door behind which she lives. Anna Stelline has never known the world beyond glass. Fragile in body, but alive with imagination, she spends her days crafting memories, fragments of forests, the warmth of sunlight through leaves, laughter echoing in spaces she cannot visit. She is given these visions to replicants, weaving illusions to sustain them, even as she herself remains confined to illusion. Her life has been one of giving reality to others while living apart from it. And yet, in that paradox, she has created beauty. When Deckard enters, he does not speak immediately. Words falter in the face of decades denied. He stands before the glass, watching her at work, shaping another memory with the delicate precision of an artist. The air hums with projection, trees swaying, snow drifting, the faint sound of children's laughter. For a moment he sees her not as miracle or answer, but simply as daughter, absorbed in her craft. The recognition strikes him with quiet force. She is here, alive, and everything he gave up has led to this moment. Anar senses his presence. She looks up, her eyes wide, uncertain. The man before her is a stranger, yet something in his gaze reaches her. Decades of absence cannot erase the thread of connection that ties them. Deckard takes a step closer, his hand trembling as it rises toward the glass. On the other side, Anar mirrors him, placing her palm gently against the barrier. Their hands do not touch, yet the distance collapses in that gesture. Father and daughter, divided by walls and years, meet in silence that speaks louder than any word. The reunion is not triumphant. It is tender, fragile, almost tentative. Deckard does not pour out confessions, nor does Anna demand explanations. Instead, they share presence, the simple miracle of being together, of knowing that the other exists. In a world defined by illusions and erasures, their connection feels startlingly real. For Deckard, the guilt of absence softens into relief. For Anna, the loneliness of confinement eases, if only for this moment, by the arrival of someone who carries her blood, her story, her beginning. Outside, Kay's body rests beneath falling snow, his sacrifice unspoken, but not without witness. He ensured this reunion, even if he could not live to see it. His choice, his defiance, his humanity, all converge in the silence of this chamber. Deckard may never know the full extent of what Kay endured, but he knows enough. He has been delivered to his daughter by someone who believed the reunion mattered. The facility hums around them, machines sustaining Anna's fragile body, projections filling the air with borrowed landscapes. Yet for Deckard, nothing could be more real than the warmth of her gaze. For Anna, nothing could be more liberating than the recognition reflected in his eyes. In a world where so much is artificial, where memories can be fabricated and lives reduced to serial numbers, this moment is authentic. The reunion does not resolve every question. The future remains uncertain. Wallace still plots in his golden towers. Rebels still whisper in the shadows. The city still drowns beneath its endless rain. But for a brief span, these truths recede. What matters is that a father and daughter, separated by time and fear, are together at last. Deckard leans closer to the glass, his breath clouding the surface. His voice, when it comes, is soft, almost breaking. "I'm Deckard." He does not need to say more. Anna smiles, and in that smile, decades of separation dissolve into something that feels like home. Outside the walls of the memory facility, the world has grown still. The storm has drifted east, leaving behind silence broken only by the soft fall of snow. It gathers on rooftops, drapes itself over rusted cars and faded billboards, and blankets the body of a man who will never rise again. Key lies on the steps, chest no longer rising, his hands open to the sky as though receiving what the world finally offers him: peace. His sacrifice has no audience. No voices cry his name. No monument will be raised. Snow, indifferent and endless, is the only witness. Yet within that quiet lies dignity. Kia, who lived his life unloved, unrecognized, and branded as less than human, chose in his final moments to act, not for himself, but for others. He has delivered Deckard to his daughter, opening the door to a reunion long denied. In that choice, he found the humanity he was told he could never possess. The snow contrasts with everything that has come before, where the city was drenched in rain, relentless, corrosive and harsh. The snow falls softly, almost forgivingly. It does not sting like acid, it settles like blessing. Each flake melts on Kay's skin, erasing wounds, covering violence, dissolving the evidence of struggle. The storm was rage, but the snow is absolution. It is as if the world itself pauses to acknowledge that even the briefest, most disregarded lives can carry meaning. Inside, warmth glows where father and daughter rediscover each other. Deckard's voice trembles, Aina's eyes soften, and though they remain separated by glass, the bond between them is undeniable. They are beginning something fragile, yet real. Outside, Kay's story ends. Inside, another begins. The symmetry is deliberate. The life of the outcast fades into the life of the child, who embodies possibility. In their crossing, the long cycle of alienation bends, if only slightly, toward connection. What makes this ending haunting is its ambiguity. Kia is not hailed as a savior, not remembered as a miracle. His death is quiet, small, almost invisible against the immensity of snow and silence. Yet it is in this very smallness that the story finds truth. Humanity is not grand or triumphant. It is fragile, fleeting, enacted in choices no one else may see. To choose compassion in a world that denies your worth is to claim dignity beyond measure. The snow continues to fall, not only upon Kay, but across the city itself. It drifts into alleys, gathers on neon signs, muffles the hum of machines. For a brief moment, even the city seems hushed, as if remembering. Perhaps it recalls Roy Batty's words, spoken decades earlier on another rooftop, under another storm. Memories vanishing like tears in rain. Now, in place of rain, snow falls, and within it rests the memory of another replicant who chose mercy. The parallel is clear. Roy saved Deckard, Kay saved Deckard again. Two replicants, condemned as artificial, embodied humanity more fully than the world that rejected them. The ending does not resolve every question. Wallace still waits in his golden tower, dreaming of expansion, whispering of dominion. The rebels still hide in shadows, preparing for the moment to rise. The city still decays, its people still shuffle through endless rain. Nothing is resolved, nor was resolution ever the point. The story closes not with certainty, but with reflection. What matters is that within one life, brief, obscure, dismissed, shown a choice that cannot be erased. In that choice lies the film's quiet conclusion. To be human is not to be born of flesh, nor to carry authentic memory, nor to inherit destiny. To be human is to choose compassion when it is most difficult, to act for another when nothing is promised in return. The snow falls steadily, softening ruins, carrying silence through the city. Inside, light glows where connection blooms. Outside, a replicant lies still, yet his story lingers in the lives he touched. And in the hush of falling snow, the boundaries blur once again, revealing humanity, not in survival, not in victory, but in sacrifice. Let the world of shadows fade. The endless rain, the neon lights fractured across wet pavement, the hum of machines echoing through narrow streets. Allow them to dissolve, as though the curtain of the story has been drawn closed. You have walked through a city where the line between human and replicant blurred, where compassion and fear collided. But that world is no longer here. In this moment, there is only stillness, and within stillness, only breath. Draw your awareness inward. Feel the rhythm of your body as it inhales, then exhales. Each breath is like a gentle tide, arriving, receding, steady, continuous, beyond question. With every inhalation, imagine the heaviness of noise and rain drifting further away. With every exhalation, let tension slip quietly from your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. The city recedes. What remains is presence. Notice the weight of your body where it rests. The ground beneath you is steady, patient, unchanging. Muscles soften, the chest opens, the face relaxes. The body, once braced against conflict, now finds permission to release. You are not required to fight or flee. You are only asked to be. Around you, silence expands. The storm has passed. The echoes of pursuit and rebellion have dissolved into quiet air. There is no need to chase questions, no need to resolve meaning. For now, there is nothing to prove, nothing to carry. There is simply you, resting in awareness, stepping out of the story into the calm rhythm of existence itself. Now that the echoes of the story have faded, allow yourself to return to the simplest rhythm you carry, the breath. It has been with you since the beginning, steady through joy and sorrow, through noise and silence. Tonight, let it be your anchor, the thread that guides you back to yourself. Inhale slowly, letting cool air fill the lungs, the chest expand, the belly rise. Hold it gently for a heartbeat, then exhale unhurriedly, releasing what you no longer need. With each breath, feel the shoulders ease, the jaw soften, the hands grow lighter. Every exhalation is a quiet letting go. The body begins to settle, the pulse slows, the weight you carried without noticing starts to dissolve. You are no longer moving through rain-slick streets or chasing shadows. You are here, only here, present, whole, alive. Inhale again and imagine the air as light flowing into every corner of your being. Exhale and feel that light sweep outward, carrying away knots of tension, remnants of the day. Each cycle is renewal, arrival with the in-breath, surrender with the out-breath. Breath is not a task. The body already knows. You are simply the witness, resting in trust as life flows through you. In this rhythm, boundaries fade. What is human, what is created, what is natural, all belong to the same tide. Stay here in the sanctuary of breath. No questions, no storms, only the rise and fall, steady and infinite. The breath has carried you back, wave after gentle wave, loosening the weight of the story until it has dissolved. Now allow yourself to sink deeper into stillness. Stillness is not emptiness, it is presence, the quiet that opens when noise has faded, the calm that remains when nothing else is required. Notice your body in this moment. The muscles have softened, the shoulders lowered, the jaw released. There is no effort in your posture. The ground holds you, steady and patient. Gravity supports you without condition. You do not need to resist. You do not need to strive. You are carried. Bring attention to the pauses between breaths. Inhale, exhale, and linger in the silence before the next breath begins. That pause is stillness, small, almost hidden, yet infinite in depth. Here, nothing needs to be added or removed. Peace is not distant. It lives in the quiet between each breath. As the body rests, the mind softens. Thoughts may still arise, but they do not need to be followed. Let them drift like clouds across a wide sky, passing without resistance. Some are bright, some heavy, some fleeting, but the sky itself remains untouched. You are not the thoughts. You are the awareness through which they come and go. Within this stillness, picture yourself seated in vast open space. No neon lights, no pounding rain, no voices pressing in. Only quiet air, cool and boundless. You are safe here, whole here, at home here. Stay with this vastness. Stillness does not erase you. It holds you, like the ocean holding a single wave. The line between inside and outside begins to blur. All is resting. All is breathing. All is still. And in this stillness, there is no need for definition. Not human, not replicant, not real, not artificial. These labels dissolve like ink in water. What remains is only presence, heartbeat, breath, snow falling, existence itself, enough. You have rested in stillness, letting thoughts drift like clouds across a wide sky. Now, allow yourself to arrive fully in the present, the only place where life truly unfolds. Not in the echoes of the past, not in the projections of the future, but here in this simple breath. Bring attention to your breathing. Inhale gently, noticing the cool air filling the lungs, the chest rising. Exhale slowly, feeling warmth leave the body, carrying tension away. Each cycle anchors you more deeply in this moment. Nothing else is required. No effort, no striving. Breath alone is enough. Let your senses open. Hear the sounds around you without judgment. Whether silence or faint noise, let them belong. Feel the weight of your body resting, supported by the ground. Notice the touch of air against your skin, the rhythm of your heartbeat. These are not distractions, they are invitations, guiding you into presence. If thoughts return, greet them kindly and release them, like leaves carried downstream. You do not need to hold or chase them. Simply return to the breath, to the sensation of being here. Visualize snow falling softly in the quiet night. Each flake drifts downward, unique yet fleeting, dissolving the moment it touches the earth. This is the nature of the present, arriving, existing, passing. It cannot be held, only lived. Stay here with this awareness. Inhale, arriving. Exhale, releasing. The present moment does not demand answers, does not ask you to be different. It simply offers itself, complete as it is. Rest in it, and know that here, in this breath, you are whole. As the story dissolves and the breath steadies, let a final thought rest gently in your awareness. Humanity is not measured by origin, nor by memory, nor by design. It is revealed in the smallest of choices, the willingness to show kindness, the courage to extend compassion, the quiet act of giving, even when nothing is promised in return. You do not need to search far for this truth. It is already within you, present in each breath, in each moment of stillness, in each heartbeat that carries you through the night. The world may surround you with noise, with labels, with illusions that fracture meaning, but beneath them all lies something untouchable, the capacity to love. Let this reflection remain with you, not as an answer, but as a reminder. Like snow falling gently onto silent streets, it asks nothing, yet it softens everything. Carry it with you as you return to waking life, knowing that stillness is never lost. It is always here, waiting quietly beneath the storm.